Like this.
I'm standing now.
Mick's tearing up here. Mick's
Come on, Mick. Villa's in, son. Come on, England. Come on, Mick.
I'm just being transported to St James's Park on the 15th of October.
They won't play this anywhere, will they? They'll play God Save the King, won't they?
No, they won't play this.
You can't talk it international.
I didn't know it was on. Sorry.
This isn't the national anthem, Craig.
Come on, England!
Welcome to the full 80 minutes on Show Me the Money Rugby League TV. Once again, thank you for all the people that like, subscribe and religiously follow the show. We are going to do a bit of a World Cup preview, a bit of an England special now that Sean Wayne has announced his 24-man squad. That was announced on Friday afternoon. Before we get going, though, can we just say massive congratulations to Swinton, who beat Doncaster yesterday in the League One Grand Final by 16 points to 10. More on that later. And of course, the Leigh Centurions, who have reached the promised land of Super League again under Derek Beaumont and Adrian Lamb and Chris Chester. They beat Batley by 44 points to 12. And just a very, very short one on Batley, just quickly. A very bold, brave, courageous performance by Craig Lingard and the Batley Bulldogs, both finals. Very, very befitting. More on that later on. Right, we're going to start with what we mean to talk about today. We're all in the England attire again. Thank you very much to Shane and the lovely people at Oxon. Don't forget, head to the website, eliteprosports.co.uk. You can get an England shirt and a training t-shirt for £54.99. So yes, I'm led to believe that the England shirts have been restocked. So yes, head to eliteprosports.co.uk and the lovely people at Oxon will get you kitted out for the Rugby League World Cup, which starts in just under 2 weeks' time. Okay, first things first, we'll go through the 24-man squad, and then everybody, myself, Joe, Craig, Jimmy, we've all tried to dissect and try and have a look at where we think England are going to win and who should be in the starting 13 and the 4 players on the bench. Well, we'll start with the 24-man squad. This was announced on Friday. So, Sam Tompkins, Andy Ackers, Joe Batchelor, John Bateman, Tom Burgess, Mike Cooper, Herbie Farnworth, Ryan Hall, Chris Hill, Morgan Knowles, Matty Lees, Tommy Makinson, Michael McLaurin, Mike McMeekan, Mikael Edsky, Kai Pearce-Paul, Victor Radley, Mark Sneed, Luke Thompson, Callum Watkins, Jack Wellesby, Elliot Whitehead, George Williams, and of course Dominic Young. 5 players in the NRL in that 24-man squad. Before we look at that 24-man squad, let's just have a little bit of a recap. The 7 players that are out injured that potentially would have been in that squad: Lewis Dodd, Niall Evalds, Liam Farrell, Johnny Lomax, Reece Lynn, Harry Newman and Alex Walmsley. Players that were not selected: surprising omissions: Darryl Clark, Ben Curry, Tom Davis, Zach Hardacre, Cruz Leeming. I've been a big Cruz fan this year. Very, very surprising not to see Cruz Leeming in. Paul McShane, Stephen Ratchford, Dan Sarginson. Of the players that we've just mentioned from that 24-man squad, there's a couple that weren't in the original England squad. So very well done to Andy Ackers, Joe Batchelor, Chris Hill, Michael McLaurin, Mike McMeekan, Mark Sneyd and Callum Watkins. So that's where we
Mark
are.
Sneyd twice.
Mark Sneyd. Sorry, Craig.
You never get names wrong, do you?
That's rich.
It's only like you going.
Don't say anything.
Every single
What a
name.
million examples you could go there.
Salford.
Yeah, we need...
Salford is.
I know, but I'm going to correct you. Right, we've done the 24-man squad. Sam Tompkins is going to be the captain. Craig, we'll start with you. Go left to right. Give us your thoughts on the 24-man squad. Sean Wayne is not been blessed, has he? Because, as we said, he's had 7 key players injured. And, I think when you look at the players that are injured, you've got to really look at your Lewis Dodds, your Johnny Lomaxes, Alex Walmsley's. Huge blow. Huge losses to England and the chances.
Well, opinions, Mick, and this is what we're here today for. So it's everyone's got their own opinion on who their side would be. I'm sure if everybody, and I hope we get the comments in after the show when everyone picks their own England side and we can go that. We did it previously a couple of months ago, but it's time to go now. Who would have been my one player, Mick, so far? I think the Lewis Dunn injury was one of the biggest ones. I think he would have been one of the English halfback starters in the World Cup history. I think he'd have been a cert. So that had been my one who I think, obviously we can all say Walmsley and the obvious ones, but I privately, and because of showing me the money and our player, he'd be right in there. Mick, I'm going to challenge. The first challenge I've got for sure, and by the way, all these opinions are based on we want England to win this World Cup, guys. So whoever's putting in saying, we want this to happen, we're going to a lot of games between us, we're passionate, we do all this to get content out there to behind us. Sean Wayne, we're all behind you, kid. My first thing is, Mick, Sean Wayne historically said when he got the job, you need to quote me on this because I might be wrong, we will not be picking Australian-born play, in Australia and bringing them over. Did that happen? Because I'm trying to see the two that obviously stick out are
Victor Radley.
And
well, it's mainly Victor Radley.
No. The centre.
Herbie.
Who played historically have been into Australia since they've been kids. They've played over there. All the rugby's been played over. I thought, Mick, unless I got this wrong, when Sean came in, that was going to stop. And I think he meant Austin. And what happened? Yeah. He more or less made a big thing of saying that should never have happened. The Rangy Chasers will never happen.
In defence of Herbie Farnworth, he was actually born over here in Lancashire. So, but you're right. He has predominantly grown up in Australia. He has the Aussie accent. Yes, he's gone through all.
But am I right in saying that was the first thing?
No, he did. He said he wants this. Sean Wayne's a very proud, stoic Englishman. He made the point that that's what he wants to do. He wants proud English men who are born and bred in this country, not what has happened previously under Wayne Bennett.
And just for me and some viewers, I'm sure, how does Victor Radley qualify? Where was he?
I think Radley qualifies through his parents. Is it not?
Yeah, it can be his grandparents.
Yeah,
but he was born.
I'm sure. I can't.
My point is more on the Sean Wayne thing. I think if you set your product out, and then is it because of these injuries, he's thought, okay, let's go to plan B, plan C. We've ended up with the same things what got slaughtered the last two coaches.
I disagree with you there. I don't think we have, apart from. I think.
Well, if you change it once, you
but there's one example. Victor Radley is the main one. That's the big surprise, isn't it? That he's
I promise you, when the way they did it, Joe, because we Rangy and a few others.
Yeah, Rangy not born in
England. But Rangy played all his rugby here.
Yeah, but that's different between Herbie Farnworth, who was born in Lancashire, and that. Yeah. Victor Radley, I completely agree with. But there's one example, and the way Victor Radley played this year.
Well, for me, one's enough.
Yeah, if you say you're not going to do it,
and then you change it, you can't. I'm changing it for one. Yeah. That's not a rule.
No.
I don't know
what Wayne's quote was, but if that's
right, so that'd be my first thing, and that might be. So let's get over that one, Mick. Because of the season we've had. We've got to decide today whether this is the best hand Sean Wayne's been dealt with. So our opinions might be different, but we've got to look at what he's been dealt. You've said the people who are not selected on injuries, and there's a not selection on opinions. Okay?
Yeah.
Yes.
We've all got our thing. My first thing is, do I think the squad looks strong? I think I'd have picked a different one, and I think that's what we'll talk about later, and the reasons why. Do I look at England as being a top three side in this World Cup? I'm going to be honest. At the moment, no. I don't think we're in the top three. I think we're probably fourth or fifth. I don't know what the bookies odds are. And maybe you can say that what they are, Mick, or one of the lads, Sam can get us that. Sorry, we've been told no phones.
We're third favourites.
We're third favourites.
With home advantage factored in.
So,
sure, but
I put us probably fourth stroke. Yeah. And is that...
Fifth? You'd have it fifth?
No, fifth.
Fourth.
So I think, Mick, is this the biggest chance for us to do something so special and put rugby league on the map? Yes. This is it. Yes. We need to build. We've got IMG New Deal on the back of a World Cup. We could get sell-out stadiums. We can't have no negativity. People saying there's not many crowds there. I reckon the bandwagon starting. A lot of people I've talked to, Mick, is that everyone's ready for it. I had some friends last night who said, if you're coming to Newcastle to stay with us, can we get tickets to watch the Fiji so-and-so game? We can get them. Non-rugby people are looking at it. We're all behind it. What is this, before we go on, what is a success for England in this tournament? I'll ask you all.
I think a success for England has to be to win it, because it's a home final. It's the World Cup's not been in this country since 2013. We know how close we were in 2017. They had the famous, infamous ankle tap. Look,
Callum Watkins, wasn't it?
Yeah. If that's a try, it's 6-6. You got talking golden point, extra time, and who knows what might happen. But this is a huge opportunity, not just for the men, but also the women and the wheelchair, because it's the first major sporting tournament in this country coming out of the pandemic. So in terms of wall-to-wall action and unprecedented media exposure and eyeballs, as I said last week on last week's show, the BBC are showing every game live, men's, women's, whether it's Red Button, BBC 3 or BBC 2 or BBC 1, the BBC are showing all 61 games. And that's not to be sniffed at. This is a massive opportunity, to showcase what's so great and special about rugby league. I think, Craig, if you're asking me what constitutes success, it has to be.
What's the minimum of what's not success?
It has to be winning it. As I said before we started rolling, I subscribe to your theory. I've got Tonga, Samoa, Australia, New Zealand ahead of England, unfortunately, based on the squad and what I've seen. I mean, the New Zealand squad got released last night. You just look at that pack, it's formidable, it's scary. You look at Samoa, you look at Tonga, you look at Australia, and if you're seriously saying, Australia's weak links are those ageing stars like Valentine Holmes and stuff, then you look at the England squad and you're like, yes, there's quite a few players as you go through who are going to be uncapped. Like I fully expect Andy Ackers, Herbie Farnworth, Dom Young to be featuring, Victor Radley. They've not had any England appearances at all. And I think Sean's probably going to go that way. But if you're asking me, realistic expectation, I think England will be lucky to get to the semi-final.
Joe?
Just to start off, I rewatched the final in 2017 back with my friends actually on Friday night. We rewatched it. Thought let's get back in the spirit, and we give it some. And what a game it was! And I think we've actually got an alright team. I can't say we're a top 3 team, because if you've only got to watch the NRL Grand Final, look who were the stars in that one. Some of the stars of that Grand Final for Penrith will be there for Samoa, and there to win. That's the scary part. They've got Luai, Toto. They've got the Stephen Crichton. They've got the stars. So that's scary. So I can't say at this moment I can't say we're better than them. But can we say we're a close fourth? Yes. And I think we've got a surprisingly good team. I think some of the injuries people got scared about, to be honest. The Wormsley, obviously Johnny's a massive loss. But I think we've got. If you actually look at the team, I think we've got a mix of younger players in there. Whether that works or not, winning the thing, but I think that gives us an underdog's chance of giving us a chance to get to the final. And I'd be happy if I get to watch England at home in the World Cup final. So that's my expectation.
Jim?
I think I'm trying but struggling to be too positive about the chances of winning it. So I'm going to answer by saying I think for it to be a success, it's all about what happens off the field, attendances, viewing figures, and helping to try and build the game in this country. I agree with Mick and yourself. I think England, on paper, are looking like the 4th at best squad.
That's a
so if we don't make the semis, disaster.
I think minimum.
I think if we don't make the semis, it's going to be very hard to keep that momentum going. If they can make the final, and it's knockout rugby. Who knows? Home advantage is going to be crucial. I don't think, if I've got this as a 4th or 5th best squad, you need that home advantage to count for the absolute maximum to get those players through it and hope that can be that 14th player.
Who would you
18th
put?
player.
We keep saying 4/5. Who would you
Well,
put?
like Mick said, Australia, New Zealand, Tonga, Samoa.
You'd put Samoa over.
I think Samoa will beat England.
No, Tonga. Sorry, I've said the wrong.
That's what I'm saying with 4/5. I think similar to Tonga. But like, it's hard.
Well, Tonga, if you're talking about 2017 World Cup, Tonga were probably the most unluckiest team in it, weren't they? They dominated us for massive periods, that game. If you want to watch that again, they were so unlucky.
To this day, I still think it was a try.
A try.
But the ball went backwards and Matt checking, even though it's a knock-on, I'm like, oh, God.
And I will say, if England were at the strongest without injuries, and I would have a different team to what this squad's allowing, even without injuries. I would have them with much more of a chance. But I think this to me looks concerning compared to what we're up against.
Do you know what? On before we get into it and what position, we'll start off in each. You can get it going, but we'll start off with fullbacks and put out fullbacks and other wings. We'll do it in that order, Mick. But as an overall squad, I want to be inspired. I want to be excited. I don't look down at that list and go, wow. And that's what scares me more than anything. When I look down at a team sheet, sometimes you go, oh my God, you're thinking, wow, that's not a wow factor for me. It looks to me like a depleted squad who's been put together on the back of injuries. And on the positive side, two or three of them in there will become world stars after this game. Regardless of how England do, we want them to win. We all want them to win, but two or three of our lads, and we can pick that out. I'll tell you now, two or three of them lads will become world stars. The bad thing for our games is they become world stars. They'll be off there next year. They'll come for them. Yeah. I've had 3 phone calls, Mick, emails, and I can't show. Every top NRL club with chairman are here. They're here already. They're coming next week. I've been asked to do 2 meetings. They are here with the notepad and the hunting, and they're wanting to take players. So this World Cup is the biggest scouting arena. The stage is set.
Correct.
Here's a message to you, lads. If you're an England player, your life could change now. Elliot Whitehead's not going to change. He's done 8 years over there. There'll be some lads' lives going to change.
Correct.
The salary cap over there promotes a £1 million player. We might get the first English £1 million player after this World Cup.
And you've just got to look at the England squad and see a player in Dominic Young. He left Huddersfield for Newcastle, relatively cheap in terms of actually what the NRL, what Newcastle paid. And, they're going to be looking, and I know there was a bit of interest in the England Knights-France game over in Bordeaux, I think it was on Saturday night. Good win by England. England Knights, credit to Paul Anderson on that one. But you look at your Dominic...
Score, Mick, I apologise, I didn't watch that.
It was 18 points to 6.
Wow.
I enjoyed it on Saturday, yes, before a night of DJ and spinning the old 1s and 2s. But yeah, you just look at Dominic Young and you look at how his career has progressed. And you've said it before, Craig, when we mentioned we need to keep your Dominic Youngs, your Will Prices, your Mikey Lewis's, your Lewis Dodds over here. But fair play to Dominic Young. He's gone over there and he's grasped it.
And any thing, Mick, you look at some of these people you've just mentioned, 5 first-time caps. One thing for sure, lads, everyone here is going to do something you've never done. It will be the most proudest moment of probably your rugby league life. Yeah. I've always had mixed back with my players, and this is true. The lads who've made that level have shown me. Some have had great experience, some not that bothered. Think it's 6 weeks in a camp, they miss the family. There's a lot of other stuff that we don't see. If you're not being selected, you're part of they say you're part of the squad, and they've done the modern one where they get the games out and you're all playing. The old days, they'd say you can go on piss from Tuesday, we'll see you on. But I think it's very hard if you're not involved now. Sean Wayne's biggest challenge will be to keep 24 players motivated and happy. That's his biggest challenge. Forget about everything else. If you play 5 games, 6 games in a World Cup, you're going to get 5 or 6 bad injuries or injuries. That's just nature of our game. So the squads is unlike most sports. This squad will be absolutely needed to be anywhere near semi-finals and final. They're going to have to, and what you've got is you've got a lad who's had 3 weeks not playing. He's walking around wherever. He's looking at it, he's thinking, I'm missing my wife, I'm missing my kids, I'm missing my mates. My mates are sending me photographs. They're in Saint-Tropez, they're diving off cliffs, and I'm sat here and Sean and his staff are saying to me, not this week, son. Another week on that watt bike. And I get on my watt bike, and remember what we've always said, you could spend 4 weeks as the opposition in training. So all you do is put your bag on, you never get put in good ball. So we've got to be mentally strong. I'm sure that's the big challenge. Sean and his staff have got that challenge. Shall we look at the full staff? Sean Wayne, coach.
Correct.
First assistant.
Paul Wellens.
Second assistant.
Andy Last.
Anybody else? Is Paul Sculthorpe part of it?
I'm not sure.
Team manager wise?
I've not gone into it that much.
So they've got such an important job.
Well, look. Andy Last, assistant to Bradford and Cats. He obviously was at Hull FC.
Yeah.
Paul Wellens is about to take over from Christian Wolf.
Yeah.
So he's got a very good support
Yeah.
team there,
100%.
as Sean Wayne.
100%.
You know, these are
Do
people.
you know what, Mick? Let's be honest. Sean has been a very successful coach in our country. What he did at Wigan was fantastic with the youth, and then he went on to his first team. He's got the job he always wanted. I've heard it is hard for Sean with his hands tied sometimes to get people to training camps in the week, and I think he's found it a lot more frustrating job than what we're first thinking from the outside. I think there's a lot of politics goes along with being that person. But we're here now, he's dreamt of this job all his life. It's on. Yeah. Let's pick the team, Michael.
Well, before we pick the team, I just want to do a quick, opinion. So I'll do this. I'll do the injured players and then the not selected players, and then I just want a yes. Would they have been in? Bearing in mind you can only have 24, but it'd just be interesting to gauge out of the injured players and the not selected players if you would have put them in. We don't need to go into who would replace who, but it'd be interesting to gauge. So Lewis Dodd, that's a yes for me. Craig,
yes for me.
Jimmy, Joe.
Yeah.
So pretty much Lewis Dodd, so he would have been in. Niall Evans, I'm saying no. Liam Farrell.
Yeah.
I had him in on mine.
Yeah.
So Liam Farrell's in.
Joe.
50-50 on Liam.
Well, there's 3 votes, so he'd be in. Johnny Lomax, of course, I think everyone's saying that. Reece Ling,
No.
be enough for me. Harry Newman,
Yeah.
if not injured and fit, he gets a yes for me.
Yeah, we're talking about if we're fully fit, sure. Yeah.
Craig, Joe,
No.
I'm going to go... Fully fit Harry, yes, he's got to play.
there you go.
Yeah, definitely.
Alex Walmsley,
Yes.
yes.
Yeah.
So just on the injured players, we've got pretty much unanimous on Lewis Dodd, unanimous on Farrell, Lomax, pretty much unanimous on Newman and Walmsley. So that's 5. So, you know, you're removing 5 already out of the England 21 squad. On those not selected, Darryl Clark.
Not for me.
No. Ben Curry.
God.
Again,
Personally, one of my favourite players of all time, but I think Benny would admit he hadn't done enough this year.
It'd be enough for me, Craig.
Let me just, we
need to
he'd
get an honourable,
one of the best. I think, but it's just what's happening at Warrington and what's happening.
Really
You've
unfortunate.
got to pick on form, we've all got to be honest.
Yeah.
Tom Davis.
No.
Zach Hardacre. I would say yes, but
For versatility, is that why I put him in?
yeah, and I think the fact that he was engineering what's happened at Leeds late on in the season, he's got that big game experience. What I think ultimately has gone against Zach is his behaviour in the last World Cup on these shows in 2013. I know you're talking 9 years ago, but you know it's no secret him and Wayne clash, and whether or not they could put their personality and differences aside.
Well, I think as well as.
But I would have Zach.
Wayne is close to
I would
Wigan,
have
and obviously Zach's left Wigan, and that'll be. I mean, there's a couple in there where
I agree.
I look borderline on being. Is that a Wigan call or is that a Wayne call from a Wigan perspective?
Yes.
Which there's a couple in there, which I would say it's got to be because he can't be on form.
No.
He can't be on form.
No.
We'll get into it in a bit. But
There's a Wigan
couple there. You go,
throughout
that is not on form. And if you're picking on form, if we're going to leave out players we think are amazing, Joe, you right?
Yeah,
I
agree, Craig. It has to be that.
We've
Whether
got
or not Sean would be open and honest.
We'll get to that, though. We'll get to that.
We've got to look at form. Based on form, I suppose you'd have to put Zach in the squad.
Yeah. Jimmy?
I think I'd have to work out if I'm putting him in who I'm leaving out, but it'd be serious consideration for his versatility.
Well,
end of season.
He would be a tick. Cruz Leeming, I've already said when we did this a few weeks back, I'd have Cruz. Cruz would be in based on what he's done this year.
Yeah, he's a
no.
He's a no for me.
I'd say yes.
Oh, well, that's a 50-50. I can't tick it because it's 2 against 2 for. Paul McShane would be no based on form this year.
Another hard one.
I'll go first on it
killer.
then. He's 100% yes for me.
McShane?
Yeah.
Yeah.
But I'm not taking with my views. It has to be done on immediate form.
Yeah.
And there's got to be some hypocrisy, I'm sure, at some point.
Yeah.
But I think if you factor in the challenges he's had this season at Cass, and you think how good he's been for the years leading up to it, no one changes like that. In my opinion, he is still...
We'd all pick Paul in the World Cup squad, but if you're picking on purely this year...
I've got Ackers and Paul as my 2 hookers. That's how I do it. So, for me, he'd 100% be in there.
That's one.
I think on form... It's a tough one, isn't it, that one?
I'm 50-50, but I'm taking Paul. Yeah, I'll go with Jimmy, I'm taking Paul. And we're going to get slaughtered for that because they're going to say, well, it's form, so you're going to have to take a bit on that.
Stefan Ratchford would be...
No, I don't.
No, not for
and
me.
Dan Sarginson.
You missed out Joe Burgess, Mick.
I've got Joe Burgess.
I've got Joe, yeah, that's why.
Apologies.
Joe Burgess, for me, must be fuming.
Devastated, yeah. Especially being, no offence if we're saying Wayne, he might have a bit of bias towards the Wigan type. I don't know how he's been left out.
That's how it ended, I suppose.
Or maybe, yeah. I don't know how.
I've got Joe Burgess and Ash Hanley in the same situation.
I'd have
Ash as well.
I didn't put Ash in the list.
It's whether Ash is fully fit or not.
To be fair,
when I compile, we're saying if they were all fit, and I'd have Liam Marshall in there. I've got 3 wingers who aren't in, and I'd probably be having 2 of them 3.
Just to give,
you'll have to explain though.
I know we said we're not going to get into that.
Just to give you an idea, when I actually put down the injured players and they're not selected, this was based on the original 30-man squad. Joe Burgess, Ash Hanley, they weren't in that original squad. So
it's a bit of crack in it.
It's not that.
We've given the loyal viewers our opinion, so we'd be making 7 changes if everybody was available to Sean Wayne's 24-man squad. We'd be including Lewis Stodd. We'd be including Liam Farrell. We'd have Johnny Lomax, Harry Newman, Alex Walmsley, Zach Hardacre, Joe Burgess.
Say what we can make
with 2 50-50s in Cruz Leeming and Paul McShane.
We all got a wild card choice.
All right, nice.
Well, my wild card's in because I said Dominic Young as my wild card, and Dom Young's been selected.
Well, you can have another one. You can have another. You can pick a 20-50.
My other wild card based on all this. Are we saying either?
It don't have to be anybody. It can be anybody.
No, what are we?
Anyone fully fit?
Oh, they're fully fit.
No. If they were all fully fit,
It's not a fat list anyway. So I'm going to throw something in from.
If they were fully fit, yeah. So it's hypothetical. They don't have to be available. Who would you have liked?
And he's not me, and this is not me, Lewis Dodds. Lewis wants to be in, but this is my wild card.
No.
This is who I'm going to sprinkle a bit of magic in.
Just so I'm clear, I'm not going to include any injured players because if they were fully fit, then Lewis Dodd, Walmsley, Farrell, Lomax would be
in the team.
I'm saying Cruz Leeming. I think Cruz has done enough.
Are you reading our board what today? Surely not.
No, I'm having a look. Yeah, just in case I forgot someone. I'd have. I'd say my one would definitely be either Dan Sargentson or Joe Burgess. I think them they were my 2. I think I feel aggrieved for them too. To be honest,
Cruz for me.
Nah.
Jimmy.
I don't want to steal your thunder, but I wrote him down, didn't I? So I'm going Mikey Lewis.
Oh, he's killed
100%.
Thunder, yeah.
Especially now, I was thinking that anyway, but especially now with the halfback shot.
I would definitely have Mikey around that squad just for his infection, just for his what he could do if you just went here, get him off bench, and he's one of them who crowd and say there's a bit of razzmatazz coming on, a bit of.
And like I say, I think. I know you'd said it as well, but even before with the injury crisis, I would have loved to have seen Lomax and Dodsey as we asked, but I would have had Mikey in there to be that player who, when we're down in a game perhaps, you chuck him on, the stadium erupts. We haven't got anyone like that. We haven't got that.
Do you know what, Mick? And I think even in training, I just think having Mikey there, Mike's one of them in training that'll smash you. And
I agree.
I think I hope we can say this. I think him and Parcell were rolling about early this year or last year. Mikey had caused, here we are, this, and I think you need that. I think you need a bit of spice. Yeah. I think Mikey, it would be listen, and I'm going to stick up for him here. The one we should have all said, and he thinks sometimes we have a go at him, and I promise you, we don't. I certainly don't. Jake Connor should be the first pick on everyone's list. If Jake gets to where we want Jake to be, Jake Connor is the spice. He is the most gifted player.
That's what I
in
said.
Our game. And it's up to you, Jake, how your script finishes. I've said this. We talked to Gailey, the lads. I'd pay to watch you on any football park in the world. Your choice of whether you make the next World Cup or if you've got a player like Jake Connor, he's not even considered on our list today. Look at your sense, son. Don't look at us. Look at yourself, because you should be the first person we all write down based on ability. So what does that tell you? That tells you that they've seen something in Jake that they think he's not putting the full. We're not developing that talent. Either he's not willing to go through with it, or where he's at. That's the exciting thing for Tony Smith. If Tony Smith and him do get on, Tony could bring the one person who brings out the absolute consistent top level that would get him in the World Cup. But if there's one player who we should all be putting down, we should be like that. Jake Connor.
Yeah.
And who's the one person most other countries, if it were fully motivated and fit, they'd all go, oh my God. He is the one player you can't read on a
That's what I said in the England show when we did that 5 months ago. He was first on my list, but then, like I said, in his back end of the season, he's obviously things have happened all there, haven't it? Where
and he's on his day, we know he is that. And what I was, after you'd picked him, I was like, you'd like to think that playing for England and putting on that jersey, you're only going to get the best Jake Connor. So I would have liked him in the squad and trusted.
Well, no one's even talked. The sad thing for Jake is
because I think everybody's aware that Wayne don't fancy.
Yeah,
everyone knows the dialogue.
But now you're not even debating it. That's the sadness.
I think it's because everybody's aware that it's got to be this way. If it was a different coach, it might be different. But
right, let's go, Mick. Let's go, son.
Right.
Everyone, get ready. Get your pens.
So here we go then.
Fullback.
Right.
This is a big debate, isn't it?
This is a big debate.
Mine's easy.
Well,
we'll start with you then, Craig. Fullback.
Easy. Wellesby.
Well, just to prove, I've actually wrote Wellesby, and Joe was shocked. And
I'm pure form.
I'm pure form, pure position.
I'm
Jack
pure
Wellesby,
physicality.
Yeah.
And pure, my body will stay up to 6 games.
Wellesby.
And I can play at the top pace against anybody.
Yes.
It has to be Jack Wellesby. And the main thing as well is, every time I'm competing on the top games, I'm always playing well.
I disagree.
Sam Tompkins this year for me, unless I've seen something else, you're going to question this.
I'm not.
If you're telling me Sam this year has been anywhere near his last year's form, I'll challenge it, and I'll challenge anybody who wants to go at him. He was outstanding. Sam brought his son back to top form last year when he got the Man of the Steel. If you're a true man and you look at yourself, he's not been in that form. Now that, I'm going to stick up for him. It could be
I don't think anyone's disagreeing.
No, but if you watch Sam play athletically this year, he's not in the same shape. Well, I'll tell you what.
No one's disagreeing, though. No one's disagreeing.
Well, talk to the viewers. It's all good.
Yeah.
So, for me, Mick Jack Wellesby is without doubt 100% my first.
100% disagree, because he's my starting halfback. He's my starting halfback in the World Cup.
What's that got to do with out?
Because we're picking fullback.
yeah, but he said he's not having him at
Yeah, but I'm saying, are you saying Tompkins? That you?
I think it's got to be Sam Tompkins, because I've got Jack Wellesby. Are you not listening? Because he's my starting halfback.
No, but I'm waiting to give me some positives on why Sam can play 6 games in this World Cup.
You don't necessarily have to. That is my ideal perfect fit. You have to mix about squads, don't you? It's a World Cup, but you play very consistently. There'll have to be some squad mix. But if I'm picking my outright top squad, I've got Tompkins at fullback because of experience, because of his talent, and I've got Wellesby at half. I think he's shown this season that he's just as good at half as he is as...
Just keep on to fullback, don't go on half yet. Just keep on by him.
But it's part of the decision.
It's part of
but I want him to tell me why he's picked Tompkins instead of...
There's nobody else.
Because there's no other fullbacks. The choice is Tompkins or Wellesby.
No, you're saying there's no other halfback if you've got Wellesby at half. You're not saying fullback.
As well.
Because you've got a fullback.
Yes.
Jack Wellsby.
Yeah, I'm in.
But I've got an even better half in Jack Wellsby. He's my starting half.
Ridiculous.
It's not ridiculous because he's actually probably played a good half the season at Saints with Dodds getting injured.
And you think he's been outstanding at half?
Yes, I think he has. I think he's been absolutely outstanding. If you look at the grand final, absolutely outstanding. I think Wellsby's. I think I love him as an athlete. I love him as a runner. I love him in that half position. Tompkins, yes, he might not have been at his best this season. He's getting older now. I think Sam. You know what I mean? You probably will admit that it's getting older, but it's a World Cup and he's probably got 6 games in him to rock the world and give us that Sam magic. And I don't mind Tompkins at half as long as I've got Tompkins at fullback as long as I've got Wellsby in that halves running and just constantly threatening the Aussies, the New Zealand's front line because he's that good and that athletic and that fast.
Listen, let's not fall out over
You
this.
tell me to shut up.
Joe's gone for Tompkins. Craig, I'd already sorted this out because
saying
I think you've got to pick the players on the form in the correct positions to have a cat in hell's chance of progressing. And for me, it's Jack Wellsby at fullback. No questions asked. Jimmy?
I can't get anywhere near as passionate as Joe about it because I've had to put Sam at fullback and I've had to put Wellsby there, and it links as well in because I can't put George Williams in. So I've put Wellsby in at half and Sam at, but I don't like it. It's just what I've been left with, so I'm not even going to get.
You put in Sneed before.
Well, I would have liked to have Wellsby at fullback, no doubt about it. But I think, and I'm hoping that Sam's this year has not been great. Last year was amazing. I'm hoping that he has got enough games left in his locker, and he's been saving himself perhaps a little bit, and his experience and his organisation, and he's so good on his day. I'm hoping he's got enough games left in him, and I'd like to think he will. I worry about his legs, getting across that line at the back when we're playing against fast teams. He's by no means anywhere near my favourite player, but you can't help but admire what he does bring, and I'm just hoping he can do it for this number of games. And like you say, it's a knock-on effect of I'm struggling so much to put halves together that I'm putting Wellsby. I totally agree with you. You look at Wellsby's grand final performance alone, he can do a good job in there. Would he be in my house if we didn't have this crisis?
Oh, no,
no chance. And I would have had him at fullback, and Sam would have missed out. But this is just what I'm left with.
I agree with that. Yeah, there's nothing.
There's no question. Sam Tompkins being one of the greatest players to play in the Super League here. He'd be in my top 5.
Yeah.
Let's give you some toffee, Sam. You've been absolutely fabulous. Just purely on form, it cannot be in front of Wellsby at fullback. And I think physicality-wise, and you're on about energy-wise,
Wellsby.
We're talking different. We're the young gun.
Yeah.
Is just physically a stronger. Sam doesn't backfield play.
But I agree with you though.
Sam doesn't backfield play a lot. Sam's a lot of this, so he wants these wingers to come in, so they'll be overworking. Whereas Sam's not going to get 150 metres out yardage. Wellsby's capable of going straight into any contact. He plays like a loose forward. He could play anywhere on the pitch, Wellsby, and compete. So for me, we've got 2 Wellsby, 2 Tompkins.
And it links in with the arse.
Well, we can't put them 2, then we can't put anybody down for the team we picked.
No.
So write it down, Mick, we'll have to put them both.
Well, you're going to, either we persuade you or you persuade us when we get to the halves, because it's linked in, isn't it? It's linked in.
We'll just split it, and let's bring Sam the dividing.
No, we've got to decide it ourselves.
Okay.
Right, wingers. Tommy Makinson, he, for mine, dispicks himself. I don't think there's any questions whatsoever. So then you're left with the other sort of conundrum is, do you go for someone like Ryan Hall with all that experience at 34? If Sean Wayne goes with Ryan Hall, he's England's most capped player in this current 24-man squad with 45 appearances, I think it is. For me, I think you've got to go very similar to what I've done with Wellsby, and you've got to go for the young gun, Dominic Young. You look at what he's done in the NRL this season. I think it's 20 appearances, Craig, 15 tries. Listen, you need that attacking threat. You need Dom Young's athleticism. I remember that game we did Yorkshire, Lancashire at Castleford about 3-4 years ago, that baking hot afternoon, and we saw Dominic Young in the flesh for the first time, and you were just, wow.
Pierce-Paul and him, wasn't
And Kai Pierce-Paul, yeah, Sam Halsall, who was the other kid as well? I think Mikey Lewis. Mikey Lewis. Yeah, we saw all them young kids, them young talent, but Dominic Young, you know, I think I forget the try, but it was over on the far stand side in the corner, and it was very much Joe Maloma West, bang it out of the way. I don't think it'll come across as a controversial call, but I've got Makinson. Makinson picks himself. Dominic Young over Ryan Hall for me.
I totally
do we all agree
disagree.
on Tommy Mack though?
I don't totally disagree on. We've got Tommy Mack. I'm on current form.
Well, Makinson's definitely getting the first tick then, because we're all agreeing on.
I'm on current form.
Yeah.
I think Ryan Hall has averaged massive, maybe 140, 50 metres a game this year. Let me finish 100%.
Makes no sense.
I'll explain why. Because obviously you don't watch a lot of rugby. I'll explain why.
I clearly watch more than you.
I've got, my back line have got to work. Okay, Mick?
Yeah, I'm listening.
I want 1,000 metres or 800 metres out of my back five. I've got Wellesby.
Yeah.
I've got Tommy. Both can do over 100 metres.
Yeah.
Dom Young's weakness as a player, in my opinion, and he's a young lad, so I'm taking that into account, is his yardage. We will need yardage in this World Cup. Get that into anybody's head, he can finish a try. He'll be doing most of his stuff off that back line. Ryan Hall is still at 34, 130, 40, 50. I think just in time Danny said 200 metres a game. On top of being the most cap winger of all time for England, on top of bringing the most experience into it. It's not even a question, in my opinion. It's not even a debate for me. Ryan Hall starts with Tom Megson.
Disagree. I think it's got to be, on current form, I think it's got to be Dom Young. I'll use your same argument against you. I think current form, Dom Young, I think he had some doubts early on in the season. Is it just a good team? I think he's proved consistently throughout the whole season he's been spectacular.
But you're talking about attack. Ryan Hall in defence is probably still one of the best defenders on a wing, high in the air, and on thing that in the game. In the game. Dom Young is known.
Do you know any stats for Dom Young's
yardage?
Get
it.
We'll have to get it up.
Get it, and I promise you, defending.
I don't have the yardage. I just know he's got about 15 tries in 20 games.
Defending. You watch what they've all been giving him some boot for. They say he can't at that level. He gets the reads wrong, and he can't. I don't want a goal scorer who gets.
You need to. Tell you what.
I want Ryan Hall.
You know what you need to do though here to play devil's advocate, because I don't watch enough NRL to really. I can't go passionate on this one. But what you need to do is you need to explain Ryan Hall in the NRL, not what he's doing in Super League. You need to say, if Ryan Hall was doing all that in the NRL, you'd be like, what for me, Young playing in that competition, he could make double meters in the Super League. And I don't know how many meters he makes.
I think he can. He's an absolute athlete.
The NRL's not twice as hard as Super League.
Ridiculous.
The NRL's not twice as hard as Super League.
That's just ridiculous comment.
What do you think?
You just said you haven't seen him much in NRL, so you don't even know if he can carry a ball from backfield at the rate of Ryan Hall, probably the best at it. Ryan Hall would still do in big meterage at Roosters. What he didn't have at Roosters, he didn't score 15 tries. I get it. I admit that. I'm conceding Ryan Hall at his age, athletically beating three men and scoring. He can't do that.
I want a bit of that.
But I want a complete bloke who's probably been our greatest winger of all time in there, and he's still currently doing that yardage and defensive. Because against the top teams, every top coach will tell you, forget about your attack. His average says to you, can he defend?
But his average height of a winger's going to be 6'5", 6'6", and Dom Young is that height. Right?
The best wingers in the last World Cup were Jermaine and Ryan Hall. All the Aussies, the best wingers against all the sides were our two. Jermaine's 5'10".
I watched the Aussie team in that World Cup. They're 10 times better this World Cup.
They can be 50 times better.
I'm still 106 kilos.
I'm still 106 kilos winger.
For a yardage, brilliant. You've won the yardage argument. But I think Dom Young is he's the athlete we need. I think he's the athlete we need. I don't think we've got enough pure athlete. I love him.
Jimmy, you've got the deciding vote.
Maybe in your team you ain't got.
Joe's picking Young for his attacking side, and Craig's picking Hall for his defensive qualities.
And yardage.
And you'll have to do the vote, because I haven't seen enough for Young to call. I've put Young in there.
Well, Young's won. You've got 3-on-1.
We've got 3-on-1.
But I'm saying I'm putting him in there.
Yeah, Mick
Mick's in Young.
It's done anyway.
Well, let's be honest, Jimmy. Why have you put?
I've put Young in purely, and again, I'm not. I don't want any weight in this because I am trusting anyone who is matching it in the NRL with that standard and having a really good second half season. If you can do it in the NRL, you can certainly do far more in Super League. And I'm backing that he's handled that standard, and to handle that standard, you earn a place in my.
And I've got no.
Mick Tribe was first saw Dom Young. Let me get this straight. I love Dom Young. Yeah. I love him, and I hope he plays. I'm probably looking at Dom Young if I had him. Saying any of them two get injured, Dom Young's in, and he covers that base. Or if you play a team where you're going to put a big score on. Would I rest Ryan Hall's legs? Of course I would.
No.
Of course I would.
No.
Let Dom Young go against
if you face against these fast teams,
if I the top 5 teams, I've got Ryan Hall.
If you face them fast teams, you need they're going to break the line. Whatever team they face, they're going to break that. Whose coverage? Dom Young might make the wrong reads. There's only one.
Who's how many times that's happened in NRL?
Yeah, 3 or 4 times, which is enough for me. Which is enough for me at that standard. He's covered. He's that fast, that athletic. He's covered. Some of his try saving tackles have been unbelievable. But he might make the wrong read. But I'll take that for what he can do when if Aussies break that line.
He's young. He's bound to make the wrong read.
Exactly.
I'm just not risking my team on a wrong read.
I am because he's fast enough to make up for it. Ryan Hall's not.
Wow. There you go.
Good debate.
Good debate, very good debate. And I just want to highlight what Craig says about fielding those kick returns. That might be where Ryan Hall does get the nod. But like I say, I've gone with Young, Makinson, and
come on, Dom.
by and large, we all agree. So we've got Makinson and Young. Centres, I'll be brutally honest. When Sean says, Mr. Wayne said... Callum Watkins, although he's been in the back row doing all this, but he's going to go back to centre for the World Cup. I've got Watkins and Farnworth in the centres. Interestingly, I've gone with Farnworth and Young and Watkins and Makinson on the left and right, rather than Farnworth and Makinson and Watkins and Young. I've gone.
Who's the other options at centre, Mick? Just.
Well, can we?
Joe Batchelor.
We had out of position.
At centre.
No, that's it.
Yeah.
It's either out of position Batchelor.
Out of position Joe Batchelor.
Or Bateman out of position.
Bateman
before.
Kai Pearce-Paul. They're all second rowers turned centres.
That's why Sean said at his press conference on Friday, the question was asked, Watkins is in the squad, where is he going to play? And he says he will be playing centre. That was the biggest indicator to me. Watkins is in, he's the starting centre.
Your other choices, like I said, Joe Batchelor centre, John Bateman centre, Kai Pearce-Paul centre. Other than that, unless I'm...
centre in the squad.
Yeah, there's no out and right centre anymore in the squad apart from Herbie Farnworth. He's the only out and out centre.
You mentioned one.
We'll start with you, Craig. Who are your centres?
So, based on what you've just told me, and thank you for that, because I didn't have him in at the centre, I would definitely 100% go Herbie Farnworth.
Yeah.
And I put Kai Pearce-Paul. So I think we're awesome at centre.
Well,
and he's faster than all them, and he's 6'6". And my other option is that's because I want Callum at back row. By the way, I'd played Callum before him.
But
we've got so many back rowers.
But Sean Wayne said, Craig, he's not going to be playing back row.
He's not going to be playing back row.
He's in the squad to play centre.
I'll go Callum Watkins, Herbie Farnworth.
Yeah, I've got the same, Herbie and Watkins.
Yeah, well, I think them two. Well,
Herbie
listen,
Watkins.
We can move on quickly from this. But just quickly, Jimmy, Joe, Watkins and Farnworth. What do you like?
I've got them. What do I like about them? I was like Craig. I'd love to the way because of Watkins been playing so well at back row, but for me it was who do I play out of position, Batchelor or Watkins, and I've ended up choosing Watkins.
Yeah, we don't want to play people out of position if we can help it.
No, and he's obviously was
been
best centres in the world.
Yeah,
so he knows that position. Batchelor's played a reasonable amount of centre over his career. He played a lot of centre. Yeah. If I remember rightly, but. Yeah, I've got
Callum Watkins and Ryan Hall.
And listen, chaps. You know, when you look at Joe Batchelor, his inclusion. I know he played in the All Stars game at Warrington a couple of months back in that 18-4 win. But you know, when you look at Joe Batchelor, I first saw Joe Batchelor when it was York against Bradford in 2018. You know, and you look you look at Joe Batchelor there in that game and you're like, wow, and then St Helens come in and the rest you say is history. You know, what an ascension, what a rise. Right, this is going to probably take a bit of debating. This is the halfback situation. We're not blessed with halves, and I'll just quickly explain why we're not blessed with halves. Because Lewis Todd and Johnny Lomax, two. Would you agree, Craig? They would be the starting halves if.
No, I don't think they. For me, they would.
If they were fully fit.
I don't think Sean has them two.
No.
But having Lewis Todd, Johnny Lomax out injured has obviously caused the issues.
So the halfback choices
with the spine.
Give us our choice. Well, you can put Wells because lads are going to put both ways.
Yeah, you've got Jack Wellesby who can play there. You've got Sam Tompkins who can play in the halves.
No.
You've got Mark Sneed.
That's it.
George Williams.
I was going to go to George Williams.
Oh, sorry.
I was just going to say, Jimmy said no to Tompkins in the halves.
No, Dad
Craig
said no.
Oh.
Well, you think Sam Tompkins could play half at this level?
No. Hear me out. I'm just saying, if you're wanting somebody with that game management and that experience...
That's ridiculous.
Well, that's fine. So, yeah, you've basically got Williams. We're not blessed, Craig. We've got Williams, Wellesby, Mark Sneed, and if you're going to probably go for that sort of out-of-the-box options,
oh my God,
throw Tompkins in the halves.
I'm trying to stay positive. My body language, I keep doing this because I'm so... I need to keep positive about this.
And you know something? I watched that game on Saturday night, and I'm watching Mikey Lewis, and I'm like, wow. And this is what we're left with, Craig.
I know.
I think the obvious options are going to be Williams. Oh, I don't know. Listen, over to you. I'll let you.
You go first, Cogs.
I've got George Williams in as a definite.
I haven't.
Let me put my story together for George. Yeah. He's done it over there. He's done it over here. He's not had a great season, as in a club season, but he's still a running threat of 100 odd metres a game. So my running threat on my system, I've got to play George. He always performs in the big arena. He will be feared. His running game will be feared all over the world. He come back from Canberra with one of the biggest reputations of an half we've ever had over there, even though he come back within a year. But over there, he's revered. He knows the score. He knows Wayne since he's been 14-year-old. He knows the system. He's got the experience. Now, George, based on the numbers we've said, Mick, this is George's last World Cup. Let me tell you.
Correct.
There's too many good young players coming. They'll have George. They'll have George in the next 2 or 3 years. So I've got to play George. I'm absolutely struggling with the other half. I'll be honest with you. I'm conceding defeat because would I play... I've got to have Sneedy. The reason I've got to have Sneedy is I ain't got a kicker. Yeah. So I've got to have a kicker. I've got all these running threats and all this yardage, which gives me field position, and I've got to have a kicker.
No last tackle
because my
option.
wingers are a big threat and my centres are good in air. Yeah. So I've got to get somebody who's the best person, in my opinion, apart from, Gailey and his sort of Pom Danny Bruff sort of thing. He's Sneedy. I've got to go with Mark Sneed. My problem with Mark Sneed is athletically against my running game is the only one I'm going to allow not to run. I am allowing Mark not to run. But if Sneedy gets on that point, and I always say this sometimes internationally, I don't like players historically 15 years, but when they're played in systems, it's worked. Do you get me? It works within a system. Sean's system has to have a kick, and I'm sure there's no way you can just run everything and not have an end of set.
Yeah.
George has got a grubber. He don't kick from deep. He don't high bomb. Sneedy's got the best placing of a high bomb into wings. Yeah. Hull got 2 challenge cups on the back of Sneedy's kicking. So I've got Mark Sneed. I've got to have back rows looking after him. Defensively, he sticks. He's not bad. He'll hit you. He'll actually hit you. It's quite strong. He looks raw boned. It's athletically where we might get done. So I've got to make sure I've got them defensive people around him, which will come to in the back row. I've got to put somebody around him who can protect him. There's no choice for me, Mick. It's not the highest order of doing it, but we've got to have a kicker. We can't play this game without a kicker. I've got Mark Sneed.
Mark Sneed and Williams.
Yes.
I've obviously, from my view, I'd go differently to that. I go Wellesby and Williams. I think George is the first. George is, like you said, a brilliant player. Done it at every level. On form, maybe doesn't, but he's actually been one of the standout players at the Paul Warrington team, so I'll let him off for that. And then I think I've got Wellesby all day long. I think Wellesby's got to make the side. I think, and from what he's done this season, I think he makes that team. whether Tompkins takes the long kicking. I know Tompkins can do that. He can do my deep kicks for me. He can do that. Tompkins is going to take the Lachlan Coote role and do that and do the fullback deep kicking. Williams has a short kicking game, so I'm going to take that. I think that's my matchup there. And Wellesby's too good at that as a runner, as an athlete, as a competitor.
So you've got an upper who can kick in your team.
I don't think I need one. I think I've got William Short, Tompkins doing my long kicking for me.
Jimmy.
Well, I've got the mixture. I've got Wellesby and Sneed. Because obviously I've got Sam at fullback. So I think what I worry about, obviously I've left out George Williams. It's just a personal thing. I'm not convinced his ability to run a game and organise a game. Is he good when he's got that speed and he sees a gap? Yes. Do I believe we're going to be playing when we're looking at beating the top teams? Is that going to work? Not for me. I think he'll get eaten up every time. So I need Sneed in there for the reasons Craig said, to organise, boss, get that ball where they want the ball, and just kick teams to death.
Yes.
Again, I feel that we're up against it against the top team, so to be able to kick a team to death is going to be really important. I don't think we're going to be able to go toe-to-toe with the top 2-3 teams. I've got Wellesby there because I think he's more dangerous than Williams these days. So I'm hoping Sneed can run the game and Wellesby can have that more of a free role to be a bit more of a runner, take a gap if he sees it. Do I think Wellesby can organise a game from half? No. Not at all. Playing alongside Johnny Lomax is a great gig for anybody. So I need some organisation, and to organise I need Sneed. I need the kicking of Sneed, and then we've got the threat of Wellesby.
So based on everybody, I mean, I went with Tompkins and Sneed. We've got Sneed a definite.
You'd have to explain your Tompkins choice.
My Tompkins choice is very similar to your Wellesby's in that either of them, you've got to have the captain of the England team in. And I was just going to make Tompkins very much redundant in that half role and more of an organiser and kicking. And that's what I was going to do. Craig, you're looking at me stupid, but that's what I was going to do. I think you've got to have Tompkins in for that experience. You mentioned about...
I wouldn't play Sam half in the Super League, never mind internationally. I wouldn't dare.
But we're not blessed with options, Craig.
Well, if your option's going to be, if you think he's a better half than George Williams, that's the biggest call, I think, and I'm sure that would want to get the comments on.
I'm with Mick. If I didn't have Sneed with Wellesby, I'd rather... I'm not having George Williams in.
Yeah,
well, that's not having Williams Dom Young argument with George.
I'm not having Williams in.
Dom Young's in the NRL.
I'm sorry, George.
George is higher than anybody.
I'm not having George Williams
in based on this year.
Because we're talking 3 years ago. And we're talking, he was in an extremely good team with a nice gig. I've never seen...
It was outstanding out there.
I'm talking about George up against it. I'm talking about trying to beat these top 2 or 3 teams. I don't think he can. That's my personal opinion.
You played Tompkins before George. This is...
To organise a game, definitely.
This is what I'm doing.
George Williams can't organise a game. He can't win a game.
I've got Sneedy organising me.
Yeah,
right.
No.
All right, yeah.
We've got Mark Sneed.
Yeah, I wouldn't have Sneed and Tompkins together.
Mark Sneed is locked in. The debate now is... Williams is out.
Who'd have said that 12 months ago? Who'd have said 12 months ago Mark Sneed's locked in the England team? That's unbelievable.
You had Gailey in that role for the last 6 years.
But fair play to Sneed.
We need to sort this out. We need to sort this out. So, the options are based on Tompkins.
No, you can't. You put Sam down as half here.
We're not. There's only Mick got him down as half. There's only
Mick who's got.
Hear me out here, Craig. I'm saying based on our team. Yes, we've got players in different positions. Like I've got Wellesby at fullback, as has Jimmy. Joe's got Wellesby in the halves.
No, he's got Sam.
I've got Sam at fullback.
He's got
Wellesby.
Sorry, Joe's got Wellesby.
There's 2 Wellesbys in halves.
What I'm trying to say is, Williams is out. Mark Sneed is in.
Why is Williams? Am I the only one with Williams? No, there's 2 Williams. There's 2 Williams, Mick.
We're at a proper log already.
Yeah, there's 2 Williams, 2 Wellesbys. That's your split there. Sam's not in that conversation, Mick. You can't put Sam in.
Then Sam gets to fullback. The lads have got their debate.
Yeah, but if
we've
we
lost
put-
Wellsby.
It's not Tompkins, Mick. You can't
Well,
argue
I'm
this
telling you
way.
now. I'm telling you now. If you're putting Williams in, so Tompkins goes to fullback and Wellsby misses out. that is a
Wellsby in the
disgrace.
half. Wellsby's in the half, Mick.
No, he's not in the half.
There's two for
He can't be in
there's
the
two
half
for
because you've
Wellsby.
got Mark Sneyd
No, Mick,
there.
I think what happens here is...
So there's Sneyd
Joe,
and
let me say
Wellsby.
this. I think the best way to view it is you want Tompkins in the team.
I want Tompkins in
Yeah,
the
all right,
team,
right,
but
hold on.
I am putting Wellsby, as Craig said,
But-
at fullback in his natural
But
position.
the way we've done the numbers, the only way to get Sam in the team now is for you to put him at fullback.
And then Wellsby at half, and then Williams misses
I
out.
know, I agree with you. Listen,
can't.
by the way, whoa, let me give Sam this.
This
let me
is-
give
this
Sam
is honest debate,
Let me give
this.
Sam this. If I were going to put Sam, my debate about Sam at fullback with Wellsby, Sam's number 2. I'm putting Sam in straight away if Wellsby don't play. My debate with Sam at half, I'm not debating that. I refuse to debate Sam Tompkins playing half on this
So
show.
Sam has to. You have to.
So I
on
either
this,
got,
mate.
you're going to put Sam at fullback, which will trust Sam. There's another
Yeah.
one in Sam.
He's
and
got
he can
fa-
lift
he's
us.
got 5
We love
games,
Sam.
isn't
We
he?
love Sam. And if you're going to
If you do it by numbers, sadly George Williams misses out because we've got Wellsby in either half or fullback. So Wellsby-
but I don't want to be part of not putting Williams in that.
I don't
Take my
either.
name
I
off it.
don't. I don't.
I like this because we've basically got my team so far.
I'm not interested. It'll get slaughtered. That is a bit. You call with that.
Craig-
Half is.
Craig, but we're doing it. We're doing
we
it.
can't. Williams has got to play. I can't
Tompkins-
believe you've both not got
Tompkins
Williams.
is going to fullback. Wellsby's in the house with Mark Sneyd. There we go. It's done. It's done, Craig. It's done on our board.
I know. I get you. But I can't believe you're just.
So
getting
Wellsby's
that.
in and Tompkins is in, but we're having to swap Tompkins with
God.
Wellsby. Right, Jimmy,
That's
just
on-
quickly.
That's on your team.
No, I.
Overall team.
This
That's how
is
it
this
is,
is the
though.
overall
No,
show
that's our
team.
overall show team.
But just quickly, Jimmy, what do you like about?
Sam before you put this. Take my name off that. I'm supposed to be one of the most educated rugby men in the country. This will go down. I'll be in the gallows.
Williams has got to
You
be
know what
in.
it's going to be, Craig? I can see it now. Serious about rugby league.
That guy,
Leading rugby league agent, George Williams.
George drops this. I know, I get you. My mate said to me, they were on forum at Saints the other day and they quoted Mick's name again on all forums. I'm like, I'm not getting quoted near that. I'll debate Sam and Wellsby at fullback. I'm not debating that halfback one. I'm not having it.
Well, look, based on our teams, unfortunately, there's no place for George Williams. So, to accommodate Wellsby and Tompkins is at fullback. Wellsby
Can you both?
and
One last
Sneyd in
thing,
the
sorry, and then
I've only
Can you
done that.
double explain why you've not got Williams in? I can't get my head around why Williams isn't in.
I don't want to go through it again. I've only said this because this is what we're left with. It's
Lack
not
of form,
what I
Joe.
want to do. It's just what I feel. I think we have to.
He's not been that bad at Warrington. He's not been the issue at Warrington.
He has.
He's been.
He's not. No, he's not.
You know, I think
He's not been.
Well, it's
Anyway.
a split opinion.
Well,
It's a
from what
split
I've seen of
opinion.
Warrington, it has fundamentally been an issue with them. Not the main
I
reason,
don't
by
think
the
any
way.
Warrington.
Wait, what aspect, Mick? Go on.
Which
You what?
Warrington fan would agree? I can't get my head
Because you
around.
can't control a game. In
We
my
don't have to.
opinion.
Sneed's doing it for us.
Well, not for me. Because I want Wells being there.
Look, let's move on to the forwards. Right. Well, listen, it's entertainment.
It is,
The fans are going to be.
And if you look at, I think it's a split opinion across the country when you look at.
We've gone with what we think. Do we seriously think Mr. Sean Wayne's going to actually throw Williams in there? 'Cause
Yes.
He's
I'm
going
being
to-
serious.
he's
Go on,
going
he's
to-
been
he's
first,
the-
but not big. He's done him since he's been 14. He's promoted him. He coached him. He's put him to be a world star.
So based on that,
Well, if he's going to play Sam at 34 against Georgia, are we all going mad here or what?
No, I think Shane.
No,
Sean
Mick's the only one arguing
I'm not saying,
Tompkins.
well, George will be his first. I'm telling you, I could ring up now and then say George has been told a year ago he's the number one pick. He gives
Well, do you know what's interesting, though?
I can't drop Tompkins or Wellsby. I can't. And
What are you basing that on, if you don't mind me saying?
Sam Tompkins is captain. He's in.
is the England captain? He's in. I was talking to Sam Tompkins only last week at the BBC media launch.
What's like to him getting team?
It's the captain, Craig. He's the
Right.
face of the
I
England
think.
profile.
I don't think there's any doubt it'll be Sam, Wellsby, and George.
Yeah.
I think that's nailed on. That's what Wayne will be.
I can't have that because
So,
I need
so
to
what
kick
you're
it.
saying then, Jimmy, effectively is Williams is going to be the short kicking Tompkins is going to take over the long kicking.
Well,
He is,
that's what Joe's saying, yeah. And I think that's what will happen, but
There you go, Craig.
I'm not having charge in my team.
Craig, your own son's...
I've just got this good ball. I've got us 30 yards outward ball and Sam swinging at fullback, kicking him things into corner. Ridiculous.
Worked at Saints with Coot.
I've seen Cook's kick. Cook's got a lovely left peg.
It's Tompkins doesn't have a bad kick. Tompkins has a lovely kick.
I'd like to get last 3 year out of Catalan and see how many times he swung and put kicks into corner. I'd like to see do it.
Because he doesn't
He
have
can
to,
put a
they've
pass
had
on.
two. They've
He can
had
put a
two.
pass on.
They've had two kickers in their halves.
Yeah, but you're saying he's going to do the kicking for you.
I'll
That's
ring
it.
Dave Leeds at the
I'm-
after show and say, can Tompkins kick it
Sam
out?
can put a pass on. That's what he can do. He can come round the back at full back.
And he's got a lovely
He's got best
deep
rugby
kick. He's got a
brain.
lovely deep kick as well.
He's got best rugby brain going, so...
Sam, here's one for you. I'll leave it at this. Sam played half with Kyle Easton, just as Danny walked.
He's not in
29-year-old
the arse,
third. Danny was on
No
the-
one's arguing Sam at halves. Except Mick. Mick's the only one.
No. Can
I'm
I
arguing Sam at fullback
Joe,
doing my long
for the
kicking.
20th time, I had Wellsby and Tompkins in my team, and I was struggling to put Sam anywhere because I wanted Wellsby at fullback. So the only way I could fit Sam in was by making him not so much redundant in the halves, but he would be there to kick.
So then you're gonna
organise
rely
and
on-
lead. Jimmy understands where I'm
I've
coming
done the
from.
opposite of you.
Yeah, Jimmy's done the opposite
I've put
of
him
me.
at full-back, because I need Wellsby in there as well.
Yeah.
And I just think Sam... I believe Sam has got some games left in him. Some
Don't
top
hesitate.
At fullback,
Don't
yeah,
hesitate
fullback.
to break down each individual team.
Right.
And leave
I'm
your
sorry.
comments based on
Right.
that.
I've had an 11th hour epiphany. Sam, I know we spoke at the Manchester Evening. I'm sorry, Sam. Sam. George Williams is going. George is going in the. George is going in the.
I hope you
So it's
proves it
William-
wrong. I
it's
really
William-
do.
I hope he does, Jimmy. But I've got to do this based on if listen, Craig's right. George is known for over a year, and
Oh, he's definitely in. He's
yeah.
definitely in.
Yeah.
So it's
I
Williams
just
and
wouldn't have him
Sneed
in.
then as our new starting
Gotta be.
halves.
yeah, Williams and Sneed.
Which now means
Over
Wellsby.
Wellsby.
So Wellsby's at
Wellsby's
full-back.
Yeah, but no,
Wellsby's
because
at
Sam
fullback.
Tompkins is 50-50. No, that means that's 50-50 still.
No, it's not 50-50.
Taking Wellsby
because
out.
I only had
not
Sam
taking
at
Wellsby out.
full-back to accommodate Wellsby. If it's, I'd still have Wellsby.
I'm sorry, Sam.
Wellsby's got to be in starting.
Sam,
Yeah,
you're
so it's-
33. You're captain of
Yeah,
the
Wellsby,
England
Wells.
squad.
We need him there.
But so-
Oh yeah, he'll be there as a leadership role, and you know what? If England get off to a flying start and they beat Samoa
Yeah,
and
that's
France, Sam can do 40 minutes. He can do a game against Greece.
Last year's form, Sam plays.
Yes.
Yeah.
And no argument with me. What he did last year, I watched him at Catalans beat Leeds. At Leeds, he was best player on the park by a million miles. The best, cleverest. he was still had the legs. He was going through gaps. What Jimmy said, the round the back pass, short, long. He did everything. I just have not seen that this year. That's my only
But
grade.
the problem with that is Wellsby and Sneed are way more on form at halves than George Williams. Way
That's
more.
in your opinion.
All right, and well, that's what I'm saying.
Right.
So you don't think
I'd
them
have
two?
George? I think George is actually
You think
He's having an alright
in a
season,
bad side
George.
instead of race.
We've sorted the back line out.
Disagree.
Wellsby, Makinson, Watkins, Farnworth, Young, Williams, and Sneed. Forwards. I've got my starting props. Chris Hill.
Back row first, Mick, surely.
No, I'm doing it as we start. I've got my starting props as Chris Hill and Luke Thompson.
Chris Hill?
You might.
Really? Chris Hill, is it no one diving in with me with that? Chris
No,
Hill starting?
hear me out. I've gone with the age, the experience. I think England will benefit. Hear me out. With Burgess and Aledzki, slightly younger and
Give us
more
our
athletic.
options, Mick. Give us our options.
Well, you've got
Lees.
Matty Lees. So just go down
Michael
the list. You've
Knowles,
got Tom Burgess.
Tom Burgess.
Let him do it.
In terms of the forwards, then are we including the back rowers who, like Morgan Knowles, can play prop? He has played prop a few times, but we've got Chris Hill, Mike Cooper, Morgan Knowles, Matty Lees,
Mike McMeekin.
Mike McMeekin,
He's played
Aledzki,
this season, hasn't he?
Kai Pearce-Paul, Luke Thompson, Elliot Whitehead. There's a number.
Don't put Whitehead in. Don't put Whitehead in.
No, hear me out. No,
No,
sorry.
forget about White. He's class.
I know.
What about
I've
him?
got him in the back row.
Yeah.
You said Mike Cooper's in the squad.
Yeah.
Yeah.
That's the big shock, isn't it?
Based on what?
Wigan, based on Wigan, like half selections.
I have not got Mike Cooper anywhere near.
No.
How
Can I just explain,
How
Craig?
can that be on anything on
I know.
form?
It's for Wigan flavour. Come on, we've got to get with it. Got to put your Wigan hat on when we do an England team.
Well, I think he's gone at age as well, hasn't he? I think that's probably more what it is, because he's gone Chris Hill as well.
Yeah, he's gone with Chris Hill.
Chris Hill's been outstanding at Huddersfield.
He has.
I didn't think he'd do it. He has. My hat's off for him.
But Craig...
He's been top 3
Craig,
division.
Would you say
Oh my God,
prop?
outstanding. Every
Top
time.
3 prop?
Honestly, Joe, he's been...
Yes.
I didn't see it. I thought he was there for
That's why I've got him. That's why I've got him starting.
Do you know Warrington his last year? In a shocker. He dropped off. Yeah. He went there and he said to Warrington, F you, and he's been absolutely outstanding. And I'm not... Chris Hill, I can watch and I get a bit like, you know, because sometimes he comes across as that hard, and I've not seen him throw out yet. So I sometimes watch it and go, but I've got the utmost respect for Chris Hill as a player. Yeah. He has been absolutely outstanding this year.
Right, we will do the forwards as 4, and we can argue who starts, who's on the bench. But my 4 are Chris Hill, Luke Thompson, Burgess and Oledsky. I went with, if you hear me out, Chris Hill, Luke Thompson to start, because they've got that experience, they're slightly older, and I just feel around that 20-25 minute mark, you're taking off both Hill and Thompson and bringing on Burgess and Oledsky. That can turn the tide in England's favour, because we know how formidable Burgess and Oledsky are. I know you can start Burgess and Oledsky and go the other way. Yeah. I've kind of like gone, well, why don't we go bang, bang, Hill, Thompson, experience, know the grind, and imagine that explosion you're going to get after 25 minutes when Burgess and Oledsky come on. They'll be like pigs in shit. Aussies, Tonga, Samoa, they'll be running scared. That's my thinking. So my 4, Hill, Thompson, Burgess, Oledsky. Joe, your 4.
My 4 from the grand final and the last couple of seasons, Matty Lees is my starter, along with Mick Oledsky from the grand final. Both players, both stars of their team, both 2 of the best teams in the league. Mick Oledsky, Matty Lees, and my other 2, Tom Burgess. Probably biasness because I just love the Burgesses. So they're probably I've not followed him too much this season, but judging on his career and just being a Burgess, probably, which is a terrible argument, but I've got Tom in. And then my 4th one is my big controversial one that you'll all slaughter me for. I've got Mike McMeekin as my. I really liked him at prop when they played him at the start of the season. That position, I think he's athletic. He's got the twitch. Might not have pure size, but I think I've got Mike McMeekin on there for just being an athlete and being a competitor.
Fair play. 1 for Lees, 1 for McMeekin, 2 for Oledsky, and 1 for Burgess. Nothing for Hill and Thompson. Over to you, Jimmy.
I've got Mick.
Oledsky's got 3. Oledsky's in.
Yeah.
Well done, Mick.
Burgess,
yeah.
Thompson, and Lees. I've gone for the more athletic.
Yeah.
I agree. I think Hill's had an unbelievable season, and I really didn't expect it because I thought he would finished.
But you've not got Chris Hill in?
No, because I want this higher energy, because I do think we're going to be doing a lot of work, and I want people. I know you can swap them around, but I still think the intensity is going to be serious, and I think that they are fit as anything. Lees, Thompson, Mick especially. Again, I don't see enough of Tom Burgess, but I'm putting my trust in, what he's done and his pure physicality. He's the one who, and his fitness is probably unbelievable as well. But yeah, they're my ones that I'm going in strategically. Depends who we're playing, doesn't it? But I quite like them. I quite like our forwards. It's the backs.
Over to you, Craig.
I'm starting. I don't want Mick starting. I want Mick coming off. So I've got Mick.
So Oledsky on the bench.
Yeah. Coming off the bench.
Yeah, that's sorted.
I'm going to start with Chris Hill. I just think he's got that experience, size this year. He always did well against the Aussies and New Zealand as well. If you watched him historically, he always caused everybody a problem, did he? And I say he's got that bit of grubbiness in him. I see it, he walks about, and I think he's probably going to need a bit of that. But I want a nice solid start. And so I'm going to play him with Tom Burgess.
Wow.
And I'm going for 106 and 114 kilos. And I want us to start well. They're both probably at the latter ends. Tom's probably 30 now. I think probably Illy's probably 33. But I've got experience and I've got size. Tom's still got his leg speed. Illy's still got his leg speed. but I want to make a good start and get a solid foundation for the rest of the game. Then I'm bringing on 23 minutes, 18, 19. I'm looking up and I'm seeing Mick and Matty Lees. Yeah. And I'm going, here we go. Go and let the bombs off and let's get some. Once their ruck's tired, I want the leg speed coming on and I want Matty Lee's explosive leg speed along with Mick's. And I like the size as well. You know, I like what I've got going off. So I got them two. I haven't got Luke Thompson in mind and I haven't got Mike Cooper. I don't know who the other one was.
Well, Joe's put Mick out of position.
Mick.
Wow, so they're the four then, as voted by. We have Hill starting with Burgess, and then Aledzki and Lees coming off the bench.
I like it as well.
Wow.
Actually, out of what you've done so far, I'm like, yeah, I like that.
Yeah.
So how come Thompson misses out? Because I thought we both had him.
Did you have Luke Thompson?
Yeah.
Oh, hang on a second, there's 2 for Thompson.
Yeah, but it's not quite that simple, sadly. It's a toss-up between Thompson and Hill, I think. It's 2 for each.
I've not voted for either, but out of them two, I'm going to go Chris Hill over Luke Thompson.
You just had it the most surprised of all time.
As a starter, I like him around my team.
So Luke Thompson is out anyway, Jimmy. Listen, I were reading the room. So
the old politician.
We've got Wellesby fullback, wing 3/4 line, Makinson, Watkins, Farnworth, Young, Williams, and Sneed in the halves, and now we've got Hill starting with Burgess.
This is the hardest
Aledzki
pick.
and
The back
Lees.
rowers, lads, is where you have got a brilliant selection.
Where the money's made.
Get this one right.
I'm going to be.
We've got a chance of being in semi.
I'm going to be brutally honest. I don't want to be classed as any Bradford favouritism. I know John Bateman misses out the first game, but it's going to be Elliot Whitehead and John Bateman, 2 tried and tested back row forwards who've been there, done it, and have achieved the best in Super League and the NRL. And guess what? They're both local boys from Bradford. So listen, it's an England special, but Bateman and Whitehead, 2 Bradford boys.
Bradford Bulls, B&B, Bateman and...
They're going to... No, but look, you're right, Craig. You can throw this around. You can throw this around. You know, you've got your Whiteheads, you've got your Kai Pierce-Balls. We've
got loads of second rowers /13/.
It's a good job we ain't got a centre, otherwise we'd have another one as well.
Yeah.
You could even move Watkins, like you say, but look, Sean said on Friday, Watkins centre, he's locked in. I've gone with Whitehead and Bateman and Knowles at loose forward.
Let me just comment on that. If you play John and Elliot, which we have done
time and time again.
I think John got put to centre a few times, but they probably played for the last 6 or 7 years in them positions, either John at centre or back row. And both legends in Australia, both did rock the boat. Elliot's probably, I've said to you before, probably the most successful player apart from Sam Burgess and Tom, and what they've done. But you put Elliot up there with anybody, Adrian Morley,
hard as nails, have got that gritty.
He can play.
What we're going to need that physicality. We're going to need that mentality as well, Craig.
Yeah. But I'm going to probably put a spoke in. Because I need leg speed. I need leg speed and size. And Elliot, I hope you don't watch this because Elliot's one of my favourite players.
Not Elliot. Yeah.
Not yet. I'm trying to get Elliot in there. And I'm trying to get him in there, but I don't want to sacrifice legs. So at the moment, I'm really hard. Because you've got the steady pace. I love McGeechan. I absolutely love Mike on that edge. I think he is just, if you put him next to a Callum and put him next to you lads have got Dom Young, I'm putting Ryan Hall, I've got beautiful size, I've got this what I'm looking for. Pierce Paul, I think has been absolute. Do you know what Matty Pete said to me after we watched him, Mick, and he obviously signed for Wigan? Matty said to me in the first 6 months, mate, this kid's going to be one of the best players. He put him automatically there, and I said we saw that, but we didn't have him there. He said he's already there, Craig. He's already there. Reputedly, he's already signed for the NRL.
Really?
I hope I'm wrong.
Kai Pierce-Paul.
Yeah. Reputedly, there's talks already done.
Yeah. That'll be unserious about them.
Oh, don't get on that thing. Let's talk about the team. But and he could go on to be a superstar. So I've got him and McGeechan who I'm looking at and going leg speed, right? Size, football. Both of them can play. We've got a bit of playing us as well. And we're both 6'4". We're 6'4" at back row, which is what we've got to match them top 3 or 4 teams with. But I've won Elliott because Elliott's me footballer. Elliott scores tries, but Elliott can't give me that yardage no more. I watch Elliott in Canberra. He's not going to give you that. So I've got Elliott either coming off bench and trying to create some at back row once me leg speeds in. So I've got to try and find. Are you playing your back rowers 80 minutes, Mick? Are we playing them? Are we carrying one on bench? Are we carrying 3 back rowers?
Yeah, you've got to carry.
I'm carrying 3. So I'm going 2 back rowers and it's that hard. It's that hard for me, this one, that I'm going to have to have time to think. I'll let you two shoot.
I've got...
This so people think I've not gone with just Bateman and White because of the Bradford connections. I've actually looked at the 24-man squad, and I know Bateman's going to miss game number 1, so that, in my opinion, will give Kai Pearce-Paul an opportunity to shine. But ultimately, I've gone with experience, Craig, and I think in these big games, you know, this will be Elliott Whitehead.
Both superstars.
This is going to be Elliott Whitehead. Look, let's just quickly go through the 24-man squad. This will be Sam Tompkins. It'll be John Bateman's, potentially Tom Burgess, definitely Ryan Hall's, Elliott Whitehead's, Tommy Makinson's last World Cup. So, and I'm not picking players on sentiment. I just think against Samoa, against those Polynesians, them Aussies, them Kiwis, you need them.
But you need them experience against size, mate.
I know.
No offense, let me tell you, John and Elliott both. I can't speak highly enough. I'm with you. To come from where they've come and do what they did.
I just think you need that experience and that.
But are you saying leg speed and size against the experience?
Yes.
Got you.
Let me just add to what Mick said. If you look at teams that win the World Cup at any sport and win the big tournaments, it's always involving, and even grand finals, it always involves those group of senior players who it's at their last chance and they find that little bit more.
But we've got a lot in our squad, Jimmy.
I know, but Mick's trying to use them. He wants them on the field because remember when it's
our average age is going to be 13.
Hang on a second, Craig. I mean, Mick, we've got Wellesby, Farnworth, and Young to bring it down.
Your average age, I think if Sam works it out, you've got an old squad kid.
No, he's got Young in there, hasn't he? And Wellesby in there.
Wellesby, yeah.
Just all I'm saying is when Italy won,
Ryan Hall, Elliott, John
Watkins.
Watkins.
It's like Dad's army. Who do you think you are kidding, Mr.
Ron Jim, sorry.
I'm just saying I know where Mick's coming from because
that's the point I wanted to.
If you're gonna be able to accommodate if you having that people who find it that little bit more who've been there, and Sam's probably the best example for me and why he was in my team is that's so important.
Sam as well.
I'm taking 4 back rowers if you class Mike McMeekin, because I said I'd have him as like a...
Joe, just quickly, who have you gone with, Jimmy?
Joe's going first.
Oh, sorry.
Have you finished?
No, I've not said it all.
No, you go, yeah.
As my back rowers, I'm actually taking 4 if you class McMeekin. Like I said, I've got him at prop / second rower, depending on maybe injuries in the game, maybe game script, what happening. So I'm going, as my starters, I'm going Morgan Knowles and Elliott Whitehead as my 2 back rowers. Morgan Knowles is...
Are you playing loose then?
We'll wait for loose, son. That's the whole point.
Victor Adley.
I'm going Australia with my loose. So I've got Morgan Knowles and Elliott Whitehead as my second rowers, and then I'm taking, actually, this will be a shock, I've got Joe Batchelor in current form on the bench. Think he can play centre. He's got my versatility factor.
So you've got Batchelor in front of Bateman, in front of Pearce-Paul, and in front of Mike McGeekin.
No, Mike McGeekin. I've got him in front of Pearce-Paul and Bateman. Yes.
He lost Mike McMeekin in the forwards.
Yeah. So I've got Elliott Knowles, Whitehead, Batchelor, and Mike McMeekin, all for versatility in. As my four in the squad.
Over to you, Jimmy.
I have got Whitehead for his...
Whitehead's in. Whitehead's got 3 votes, so Whitehead's in.
For his Aussie experience. Same reason as you said, Mick. I just think to have that literal
yes, you need
there,
it. You need it.
I think that's important.
Yeah.
And then, I think if we're going for that Bateman player, without getting stuck on it, I would have had Bentley for that style. So I'm not going down. I'm not having Bateman, and I'm not doubting he's been absolutely brilliant for a very, very long time. But I do think I'm going to go with Batchelor because I just think he's such an honest, genuine, hard-working player.
Yeah.
Clean. I don't want anyone getting 10 minutes at any point either. I want to make sure we all stay on the field or we are screwed. So I'm putting him for the last couple of years he's had. I'm having him in there with Whitehead.
Wow. And loose forward.
Well, no. Who's your bench? Have you got anyone on the bench for second row?
No. Well, leaving out. No, I've not. No.
Wow, that's leaving out a lot of good second row.
I mean, having said that, I've not put much thought into that. So I'll go on. I'll stick Bateman on bench because I do think we need him in there.
Right.
Somewhere.
So 2 votes for Bateman. Bateman might be in the squad.
Get rid of him.
So who's your bench?
Radley, Lees. Well,
You've got Radley playing at prop then? Where have you got Radley playing?
Coming on anywhere.
Oh, yeah.
I think Knowles stays on the pitch for me.
Yeah,
so
yeah.
if he needs to move and Radley
that's
goes
free
there.
for Knowles.
Knowles moves.
Knowles is loose
Whitehead
forward.
comes off. Knowles goes there.
White.
Radley
Well, don't
comes
say
on
that about
there.
Knowles yet, because whose number we've got 3. We might have 3 13s at Radley. Because Jimmy's voted Radley, so we've got 3.
No, I've got
Radleys.
Knowles at 13.
He's got Knowles at 13. We've got Knowles at 13.
So where does Radley go in your team, Mick?
Well, I was gonna have Radley. It was going to be like a very strange situation with Andy Ackers at 9, Radley coming on. With
As a
Knowles on the
9?
bench.
As a 9?
No, hear me out. I was going to have Ackers at 9, and I was going to have Radley, either deciding whether or not he was going to go on the bench with Knowles. I was going to either have Radley at 13, Ackers was going to be 9, which we're going to go on to next, the final position. But yeah. I've got Radley in my 17. It was just where I'm putting him.
Yeah,
That's what I'm trying to say. Joe.
I think I'm gonna put Knowles to back row and put Radley on at 13. I need Knowles on that pitch. As a change, I'm starting with Knowles. I'm starting with Knowles.
Yeah.
What you
Craig,
got?
you've got the deciding factor because we've got Whitehead definitely in on 3. Bateman's got 2. Batchelor's got 2.
Because you would not, if you argued NRL, you'd say Radley's probably the number 1 NRL player we're bringing over. Along with Whitehead.
To be fair, Radley's in.
Unbelievable.
Radley's got 3. Radley's on the bench, I think.
I don't like Radley on the bench because he looks to me like he needs to be in the midst of the battle. So I definitely ain't bringing Radley off a bench.
Right.
Not a chance. He doesn't look that type of player
ticker,
at
isn't he?
all.
He's a
He's
ticker.
got a trigger temper and he's bash, and I want him on at start. If it's tasty, I want him right among it.
So you're having him on.
So I probably got him in there at loose.
Okay.
And I suppose it makes my decision easier. I put Morgan Knowles
With
at back
Whitehead.
row, which I wasn't going to do, but I'm not prepared to sacrifice Morgan Knowles in my team.
Well, look, with that
So
added
I've got Elliott, I've got
Elliott,
Knowles, and
Radley.
And who's on the
Radley.
bench?
And on my bench, I need somebody who plays more than one position has to be on my bench. But I might go for 2 hookers. I don't know. I don't think I can have 1 hooker.
Yeah.
My team won't work with 1 hooker because it's too much. If you said, oh, this kid's going to play hooker for 80 minutes in that type of cauldron, it's probably impossible. Probably only Cameron Smith, maybe a Paul McShane probably would have done it because of the pace he plays at. He's quite guarded with his pace. He can kick, he can mix.
So you're going Mickey Mack?
I've got to have. Yeah, I've got. Now, by the way, we can dispute that because again, if you're picking, that's the Sean Wayne thing. We're going to compete again. Let's repeat myself. Mickey Mack's an absolute monster of a player, and has been. I reckon Mickey's been in top 4 hookers of all time in our comp. I'm putting Mickey right there with Roby and Kieran. Matty Pete, I'll quote again, even though he's not at Wigan. The best competitor we've ever had, it would be Mickey Mack. Would I have brought Mickey Mack on current form into this arena before I put Paul McShane in? My personal thing, no. But he's in. We've got to deal with the hands that we've been dealt, haven't we?
Yeah.
You know, I'm a big lover of Jesulitin and all. But if I'm going to start with it, I've got to start with Mickey because I've got that much. I've got Morgan Knowles and I've got, what's it called? Victor
Radley.
And I've got all aggression. I've got my back, I've got it. And then I put Mickey in who's absolutely at it. So I've got Mickey starting. And it's whether I sacrifice a hooker on the bench, whether I think Mickey could play long minutes, or do I go for a back rower on the bench? I mean, I don't want to lose John. And John can play 2 positions, centre or back row.
Are you giving
I don't know what
to John?
At the moment, I've not got John in, have I? I've got Elliott and Knowles with Victor in the middle.
So,
with Mickey Mack at hooker. I've got one place left.
Yeah.
Do I go with an hooker or do I go with a
This is crucial, by the way, Craig.
And
this
Pierce, let me finish. Pierce Paul can play 2 positions. Probably he could play centre.
Joe Batchelor not in your team.
Not a chance.
Because if you give this vote
Not
to
a
Bateman,
chance.
he's in on the bench because he'll have 3 votes.
That's what I'm saying to you. I need to find, do I go hooker or do I go back row? I really don't. I'm trying to visualise Mickey playing. Mickey probably has got a good tempo to his game. And he probably can play long minutes. So I'm probably thinking, if he's not a young hooker who I think still... You know when they can't scoot, it means they can play longer minutes because they're not doing 40 metres and coming back.
Less energy.
So they're just... So I'm probably going to go for I want John Bateman on my bench. So I'm with John Bateman on my bench and Mickey Mack playing 80. That's the hard call for me. But Mickey, come on, son. You've given us some nightmares over years, son. You bashed them all, kid, but we need you one more time.
Jesus.
Wow. We're down then.
But I've got to put John. I can't. How can I not have John?
Yeah, I've got him on bench because
Probably the best player, one of the best players. You know.
Hear me out, guys. Hear me out. We've got the final position now at 9. Craig's said McLaurin, Jimmy, and then Joe, and then I might end up having the deciding vote on this. But Jimmy 9.
Yeah, I'm devastated because again I can't believe we're not talking about Paul McShane, and there's no way on earth Mickey McLaurin's going in my team. Full stop. So I've got Ackers in there, but I don't know whether being dealt the hand. I agree. I'm not sure in these big games we can have a 9 to 80 minutes, and that's my concern. So do I have to put McLaurin on the bench to mix it up, or do I have to start McLaurin and then bring Ackers on? But I don't want him in my team.
Ackers has been awesome this year, by the way. I just don't think. I think that's too much. That's
too much too soon.
Not a chance.
80 minutes.
But I think he's done awesome. We had him at Show Me his younger days, and he was a fantastic lad. And what a story he could tell.
And I'm looking for is there someone else who can jump in at 9, and so I don't have to use McLaurin. And I don't think there is.
There isn't. I'm looking myself.
That's what I look for.
So, as horrified as I am to say it, I'm going to have to do what Craig's doing and start McLaurin and bring Ackers
Jimmy
on.
don't walk past McLaurin many times.
I walked past him before. I walked very quickly.
Listen.
It's nothing personal.
It's
It's
not
just my
debatable. Mickey
opinion.
McCallum's been awesome. There's no one can. Even if you didn't like Mickey, you can't say he's not been one of the best hookers in comp.
Well, I'm going to just say dead simple. I do not have McLaurin anywhere near McShane, and McShane's not in the team. That's how I view it. And McLaurin, yes, we know what he brings, but when McLaurin was up against it against Leeds, we saw what happens, and he's going to be in that situation in quite a few of these games. Do I think he's brilliant when it's on his terms and he can control and get on top and bully? And I mean that in a nice way. It's the way he does it is effective, but I don't think this is his platform. Against these top teams is not for me.
Let me just tell you a thing, guys.
You've got Simbins.
Let me tell you a thing here. Don't think for 1 minute Mickey Mack's not starting. I'll take money with you.
I agree.
It's like George.
It is. I agree.
We're putting our team in, but don't dispute that Mickey's not starting. Mickey is starting.
Yeah, 100%.
That's fact.
And
the Exiles showed you Mickey starting.
Yeah. I agree with you.
I've got Andy Ackers starting. Like you said, I think the hooker's the tough one.
You're not carrying hooker on bench.
I am. I'm carrying McLaurin. That's why I've chose. If I can explain my Mike McMeekin one, so I've chosen McMeekin because I want another second rower, but then I want a second rower that can play prov and a second rower that can play centre.
Yeah.
That's why I've done it. So I've got 3. I've got 2 props: McMeekin and Burgess, McLaurin, and I had Batchelor. But obviously, judging on our vote, it's probably Bateman over Batchelor.
Mick,
I had Ackers. I'll be brutally honest, but. We had one bench spot, so already confirmed on the interchange bench, Mikhail Edskett, Matty Lees and John Bateman. Yeah. And it looks like you've twisted my arm. I have got McLaurin, Ackers, which way do you go? We're not blessed with options.
We are.
I think in my
squad.
team, I'm happy.
Do we agree that McLaurin
If
has to start
McLaurin gets
with
injured in
Ackers
the
off
game,
bench?
what would you do?
I think that's fair. If we're doing it,
I
it's
just
that
put
way.
me half to go in and do it that way.
So that's the team. I'm just working
You're
out.
off Mark Sneed and George Williams.
Yeah, put one of them just to play a ball. Most halves can play hook. I'm not saying they're effective.
Yeah, just
but
pass
they
it
can all-
out.
They can
They'll
all do
jump
it.
in and do a job.
I'm going to give
I
you...
wouldn't want Mark Sneed doing that. You'd have to play.
And fair play to Mickey, unless you break him in half, he's not coming off, is he? When he's on the pitch, Mick, I think he has time off thingy, but when he's actually playing, I think
he gets plenty of time off for you.
You'll have to drag him off.
So there we go. Based on what everybody said,
Starting.
this is the team. I'm going to read it out. Fullback Jack Wellesby, wing 3/4.
Well, build it up.
So this is what we've just
Thank
been
you, you're
debating. Hopefully you've enjoyed it. But
Wait, let me just play music again.
Yeah, go on.
Just say it. You can do it, Mick, while the music's on. Because if that in background, it'll be amazing. Ready?
Get your farts together, mate. Sing the song.
Ancient time.
Sing the team, mate.
And in your 2023 World Cup final,
Go on, Mick.
England squad.
So yeah, this is the full 80 minutes on Show Me the Money Rugby League TV. This is our World Cup 2022 England team. These are the 17. Fullback Jack Wellesby, wing 3/4 line, Tommy Makinson, Callum Watkins and Herbie Farnworth with Dominic Young, the other winger. The halfback partnership is George Williams and Mark Sneed. The forwards, Chris Hill, Tom Burgess. The hooker, Mickey McLaurin. On the back row, Elliot Whitehead and Morgan Knowles. At loose forward, it's the man from Sydney, Victor Radley. And on the interchange bench, Andy Ackers, Mikhail Ledski, Mary Lees and John Bateman. I wasn't being ignorant. I went on my phone, I went on the calculator. The average age of our team is 28 years and 2 months.
Take that internationally.
Unlucky absentees. Joe Batchelor had 2 votes. We also had Mike McMeekan.
Tompkins.
Tom Kings.
Captain.
Tom Kings. And Luke Thompson had 2 votes and he got voted out.
By the way, I'm making Morgan Knowles my captain.
Sorry, Sam.
Tompkins is captain.
Sorry, Sam.
I'm making in our team.
Sam's gone again.
I want somebody who I want the JP leader. I want to follow you through anything. And I want someone who'll put their head in an hand grenade and easy.
Is it Whitehead, Ben?
I love Whitehead.
Realistically, how happy are we with this, what we've come up with? Wellesby, Makinson,
I've got
Watkins,
3
Farnworth,
positions
Young.
which we've managed to move around in my
Williams.
way, but I'm still writing
Are
on
you
the
the
dot.
chief manipulator then? You're this sat there and
yeah.
you're this like rubbing your hands.
No, we're not. I thought I'd give a good case.
To be fair, if I really wanted to stick with Sam, but I thought for the sake of the show and arguments, it's going to be this bit easier. Sorry, Sam, you're out. Because I want Wellesby at fullback.
Yeah. Again, I can't say enough. Let's finish with this. These are our opinions, but we've all put this shirt on today because we want all the lads to do well. Please don't get little bits of it and be putting little bits of our opinions against players like it's been a bit nasty. It's not, it's debate. When we're debating against a player, it means that you like a player or you don't like a player or you think he's better in that position than somebody else. It's what's called an opinion. Hopefully this gives you some fun and everyone can have some fun giving their opinions. Because me and Mick have done this before. Get this straight. If there's 200 teams put on comments of the best teams, I'll guarantee you there won't be more than 3 same ones. It'll be an absolutely different one. So there's nobody, and we could do this, could challenge. They should do it. Here's one for BBC. Get them to put the 3 top coaches in our game to pick their sides.
Yeah, because...
And they should all be meant to pick it. Every Super League coach should be meant to pick a team. And I'll guarantee you another thing, Mick, that'll all be different.
Yeah, no, I agree.
They will all go for theirs, how they see the game unfolded and what they want. So please join in with the fun. Everybody who's there, please join in with the fun. We've still got the guys. Please bear with us. The nearly in camp now. Shane's promised us he'll get the England signed top 4. Sam's got his name.
Yeah.
We'll definitely keep to our word and send that. The other one's going out today, by the way. The Oxen for Oliver. Mary's going to do that today. So we're all saying one thing from the lads.
Come on, England.
Come on, England. Come on, England.
They're up against it, but it might suit them.
And RFL, and this is a message to the RFL and IMG for promoting this sport like we do. If we don't get tickets for every single game, we're coming for you. We do this free. We don't go and take 80 grand off your budget. We don't go to these things and get it. We sponsor ourselves. We do our own thing in our own time. Every Monday we come here and fight for this sport. If Mick Gledel or us don't get these tickets delivered, we're coming for you.
But yeah, thank you very much for joining us on this one. Don't forget the action starts a week on Saturday at St James's Park, 2:30 kick-off. England against Samoa. Week after, it's to Bolton to face old foes France, and then it's to Sheffield the week after to face World Cup debutants Greece, who are actually at Odsal this weekend on Saturday. There's a big game at the Shea as well. Tonga. I forgot who Tonga are playing now on Sunday at the Shea. Tonga are playing somebody at the Shea. I've been invited to that one. But yeah, it's been a bit of a very special full 80 minutes as we sort of preview England's chances. Just quickly, right to left. I think England will be losing semi-finalists. Quickly, Joe.
England, your runner-ups in the World Cup.
I'm with Mick, losing semi-finalists.
Beat semi-finalists.
They're gonna
what?
They'll lose in semi-final.
We'll get to semis
and then lose.
Yeah.
Yes.
Beaten semi-finalists.
Because we'd have to play New Zealand or Australia. But I think based on how it goes,
at the Emirates,
you'd have to play one of them two. Yeah. And I just don't believe we can beat one of them two. That's my opinion.
I think we can beat New Zealand if we draw New Zealand. We can on our day. I'm not saying 10 out of 10 games, but on our day, of course, we can beat them.
That's
if
we'd have had our best team available, I'd be on us to win it all, and I'd in our country, I'd be absolutely adamant. If we could pick every player or fit. Good luck, Mr. Wayne. Good luck, England.
Sorry for the tap on the table.
There we go.
Tapping out. See you next week.